Hi guys, so in the last video I gave you the homework that you have to update this code for inserting nodes at head. Okay, so basically in the last video I told you, so if the input given by the user is 1, 2, 5 and -1, then what our code will do, what this code will do, so it will create the linked list in this fashion 1, 2 and 5. Okay, so we are inserting a tail. This is basically your head, and this is the last node of our linked list is tail. Okay, so what I want to do is, if the data given by the user is this, I want to create the linked list in this fashion 5, 2 and 1. So this will be my head and this will be my tail. So there are two ways to do this. So first way is basically do not change this code. Okay, so what will happen if you do not change this code? This will be your linked list. Okay, if you will not change this code, this will be your output 1, 2 and 5. Okay, now what you can do, so after creating this linked list, apply the reverse function. Apply the reverse function. So what you have to do, you have to write the code for the reversing a linked list. So if you can write the code for reversing a linked list, then it is good, because then you can take input in this fashion and you can reverse a linked list and you will obtain this linked list. But reversing a linked list is a little bit difficult for you right now because you are still learning. Otherwise, reversing a linked list is a very simple code. So obviously this way you won't be able to solve it yourself. Now the second and the most simple way to obtain this linked list is basically you will insert at head. Instead of inserting at tail, you will insert at head. Okay, so very simple. Let's say this is your linked list for now. Let's say this is your linked list. Now you want to insert a node n. This is your head. So you want to insert this new node n at the front. So what you have to do, first of all you have to make this connection. Now for making this connection, what will be the code? So the code is very simple. The next of n will point towards the head of the linked list. If you will write this code, then what will happen? This connection will be established. Now after the connection is established, you have to update your head. So head will come here. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to write head equals n. So basically these are the two lines that you have to write to obtain this linked list. Very simple. Okay, so let's do this. So what I am doing, I will copy this function. So this is the new function. Let's name it takeInput2. And what we want to do, we will insert at head. Okay, so instead of writing these two lines, what we will do, n arrow next is head and we will update head. Okay, so this is all that you have to do. So let's dry run this code and then we will run this code. Okay, so let's first dry run this code for a very small example. So let's say the data given by the user is, let's say 1, 2 and 5 and then finally -1. Okay, so this is the data given by the user, and let's say this is your head, this is your tail, and this is basically the data, and this is n. So take data. Okay, head and tail initially null because the linked list is empty, so head is null, tail is also null. Simple. Data is not equals to -1, so data is 1. Okay, data is 1. So 1 is not equals to -1, true. So go inside the while loop, create a node with this data. So data is 1, so create a node. So this is the node, data is 1, next is null. Simple. Now check, is this the first node? Yes, it is the first node, that's why the head is null. Okay, so instead of writing if head equals null, you can also write the condition tail equals null. Both are same. Okay, so you have a choice, or. Okay, so head is null, that means this is the first node. So if this is the first node, let's say its address is 100, so n is containing 100. If this is the first node, update your head. Okay, so this is your head now. Simple. So update here also 100. So we will not go inside the else part, take data again. Now this time the data is 2. So update the data. Okay, so we will also update the tail. So 100. So this is tail also. Head is pointing towards this node and tail is also pointing towards this node. Very simple. Now the data is 2. So data is 2. So 2 is not equals to -1. Condition is true. Go inside the loop. Create a node n. So create a node n. The data is basically 2. Null. Let's say address is 200. Okay. Then this is not the first node. So this is not the first node. We will go inside the else part. So the next of n is head. So this is n and this is head. So establish this connection. Okay, so 100 will come here. Okay, so this 100 will come here. Now what you have to do, so I will update the head. So remove head from here and head is pointing towards n. Simple. Okay, so I forgot to update this. So you can update it yourself. N is static variable, so it will be destroyed, then it will be created again, then it will be 200. Okay, so you can do it yourself. Now the next data is 5. So I am taking data 5 is not equals to -1. Again create a node n. So this is 5, this is null, then this is n actually. So n arrow next is head, and then you will update your head. So head is pointing towards this node. Okay, so I am not updating all these variables. You can update it yourself. Okay, I am creating. So what will happen? So head will point towards n, and finally the data is -1. So you will return the head. Okay, so you will return head. If its address is 500, then basically you will return 500 to the main. Okay, so this is your linked list. Finally, this is your linked list. 5, then 2, then 1. 5 is your head and 1 is your tail. Okay, very simple. So now let us run our code and let's see whether our code is working fine or not. Okay, so I have to call this function takeInput2. So let's call the function takeInput2. So this is head 2. Okay, so this is inserting at tail. Sorry, this is inserting at head, and this one is basically we are inserting at tail. Okay, so call the print function and pass head 2. Okay, so let's test our code. So first this is waiting for the function take input. So let's say the data is 1, 2, 3 and -1. Now it is waiting for take input 2 function. Okay, so again the data will be same. So 1, 2, 3 and -1. So this is the output. So this output 1, 2, 3 and null, this is due to this function take input 1 function when we are inserting a tail. Okay, so this is tail when we are inserting a tail, and this is the output when we are basically inserting at head 3 to 1. Okay, so 1, 2, 3 null, 3 to 1 null. Okay, let's take one more input. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's comment out this code because we already tested this code in our previous video. So the data is 10, let's say 30, 54, 7, 3, -1. And this is our linked list. Okay, so 3, then 7, then 54, then 30, then 10 and null. So basically our code is working fine. And what is the time complexity? So again, the time complexity is basically linear. Okay, so the time complexity of takeInput2 function is linear, big of n, where n is the total number of nodes where n is the total number of nodes you want to insert in your linked list. Okay, so this is the time complexity. So this was very easy question. So now your homework is basically what you have to do. So you have to write a function length. Now what this length function will do, it will give you how many elements are present in your linked list. Okay, so it will give you how many elements, what is the size of your linked list. So I hope you guys can implement the length function. Okay, this is very similar to the print function. It will be very similar to the print function. Okay, so I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.